Hey everyone, before I get into today's video, I want to announce a brand new giveaway we are doing for the month of May. We are giving away a copy of Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. You'll know it. To enter, all you have to do is like the video, comment down below, hit the bell icon on the channel, subscribe to the channel as well, and yeah, you can do that for every video that we release in the month of May, and then the winner will be announced on the last day of the month. Now, you guys might be waiting for the winner of the last giveaway. Obviously, I've been a little bit away over the past week. I will be announcing that in a community post later tonight. So yeah, good luck to all the people that entered our prior giveaway for a copy of Trials of Mana on whatever platform you happen to want it on, the remake, remaster, or whatever. So let's get into today's video. Something weird is happening in Japan, and maybe this is just because even in Japan they have a lot of people staying at home and working from home, so people just have more time to examine the gaming landscape and make requests. And the Nintendo Switch is the most popular platform currently in Japan. It is not necessarily the one that all the games sell the best on. A lot of multi-platform games that are on PlayStation 4 and Switch tend to sell just a smidge better on PlayStation 4 than they do on Switch, despite there being significantly more Switch consoles. But that's obviously just due to market demand. The people that buy systems like PlayStation 4 expect certain types of games, and they bought it for those types of games, whereas people who bought Switch maybe bought it for other reasons, and these games are kind of a secondary purchase to them. They're not really the reason to buy a Switch, although that is slowly changing as more and more third-party games, third-party multi-platform games keep coming to Switch, especially Japanese-made ones. Now, the reason that we're talking about this is because something interesting is trending on Twitter in Japan. I obviously do not have a Japanese Twitter account to verify this. I'm getting this from Nintendo Life, but it appears that games I wanted ported to Nintendo Switch, yes, that's like the actual hashtag, is trending in Japan. And it's just the Japanese audience getting together to essentially tell developers, whether it's Nintendo or otherwise, about all of the games they want to see come to Switch that are either already on current gen platforms or on prior platforms. And we're going to go over some of this stuff in the article, and then I'm actually going to give you some games that I would like to see ported over personally. So let's just get straight to the article. Now, as you can see in the article, it talks about how the Switch already has an extensive library of games. There's always room for more ports, blah, blah, blah. It says this Nintendo soup to the translation. Games I want ported to the Nintendo Switch is what some of the titles suggested are Metroid Fusion, Xenoblade Chronicles X, F-Zero GX, Super Mario Sunshine, Star Fox Assault, Phantasy Star Online, the original Baten Kaitos, Skies of Arcadia, Legends, Armored Core, and then you can kind of just see Metroid Fusion, Metroid Zero Mission, just going on down the list of all the Japanese accounts and stuff making demands. Twilight Princess and Wind Waker, obviously the HD versions of that would be nice to come over. Stuff like that. So Golden Sun I saw on there. You got Disney Universe in here as well. Just a whole lot of stuff that we can be reliably talking about. So I find that all to be pretty cool, pretty interesting, pretty amazing, if we're being honest. Now, this gets into what do I want to see come over. And what I want to see come over is actually rather quite simple. I'm a Zelda guy, so I want every single Zelda game that's ever released to be available in some fashion, whether it's through the weird the way they're handling retro games, like with the SNES app and the NES app, or whether it's just straight up releasing them, remastering them like they did with Link's Awakening, or whatever the case might be. The Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD as a bundle, I think, is a smart idea for $60. It's $30 per game. They just did it on Wii U. They ported a lot of Wii U games. I don't think there's any reason that any Wii U exclusive that isn't called Devil's Third shouldn't come over. And even then, if Devil's Third came to Switch, I wouldn't be disappointed. It's just not a good game, so I just don't care. But obviously, a lot of Wii U games I still want to see come over. Pikmin 3 is a big one. I know all the rumors about Pikmin 4 and all this stuff from the past, when Miyamoto was all like, oh, yeah, Pikmin 4 is almost done. But guess what? Pikmin 3 should come over and be on a bigger audience. It might even outsell the Wii U edition of it. Even a game like Zombie U, I think, they reworked that to release on PlayStation and Xbox. Like, why not bring the PlayStation and Xbox version over to Switch? I don't see a reason not to do that. But there's a lot of games you can kind of dig from the past, if you're just looking through your own personal wants and desires to come over. Games to me that even just from this current generation, I'd like to see the RE2 remake come over. I'd like to see Final Fantasy VII remake come over, which it's not going to happen, but I would like to see it happen, even if it doesn't seem technologically possible. But we got The Witcher 3 and others, so who really knows? Doom Eternal's coming, so who knows what's really possible on Switch? There's a lot of games that we could dig up. A game that comes right to mind is Goldeneye, whether it's the original N64 one or the one that was kind of remade again for Wii. Again, the remade one to me isn't as good as the original, but it's still not bad. It's okay. It has most of the content in it, so I'd even take that. I know there's some licensing issues with that. Rare Replay, this has been rumored and talked about before. A lot of those Rare games started on Nintendo platforms, so even though there's some on there like Viva Pinata and others that weren't necessarily on Nintendo systems, who really cares? Microsoft and Xbox, Microsoft, Xbox, Nintendo, they've all worked together on other games like Cuphead and stuff, so I don't see why not bring those over. I mean, Ori and the Blind Forest, so let's just Rare Replay, why not? We have Banjo-Kazooie and Smash for crying out loud, so clearly Microsoft recognizes the legacy Rare has on Nintendo platforms, and it's just more, a higher potential sales for retro games to the gamers that actually played those games when they came out. Not that there's not some Xbox fans that played Nintendo, of course. It's just kind of a general, hey, look, a lot of us that grew up with just Nintendo played these games and haven't played them since Rare left Nintendo. So that's just something to consider as well. And obviously, there's some obvious candidates. The Grand Theft Auto 5s of the world. No one understands why GTA 5 isn't on the platform. It was on literally Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. No reason it can't run on Switch because of that. They just have chosen not to do it. And you can look at the copious amounts of modern third-party games. Any of the Assassin's Creed games, the more modern ones, from Origins on up. It would be great to see. There's that new Assassin's Creed game that's been leaked and announced at this point, and is probably going to appear at something happening on the 7th. We'll get into that another day because we'll be live streaming an event that's happening that day for one of the next-gen systems. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that, but it'd be sweet to see that on Switch, even if it doesn't seem technologically possible. I don't know. After The Witcher 3, I'm starting to believe anything that's at least current gen is technologically possible on Switch. And I kind of view Switch as as kind of like the everyman platform. If you're super into playing console games on the go, it's pretty much the best platform to do it with, besides I guess a laptop, and even then people don't consider that to necessarily be portable gaming. That's more so mobile desktop gaming, where you could take your laptop and bring it with you to the hotel and game, whereas you're not really going to be using your laptop for much gaming, say on a train or on an airplane or wherever. Not that we're doing a lot of traveling these days right now anyways, but still Switch kind of feeds into that crowd, and that's why a lot of people that own PlayStation also happen to own a Switch. And then there's also the crowd that just likes playing Switch for what it is, for being able to play on TV and take it on the go and do whatever and just take advantage of it, and been big Nintendo fans that would just love to see pretty much any game be on Switch. Why we don't have the Maddens of the world on Switch? Why is EA just shunning the whole platform, it feels like, beyond a couple games that are more indie stuff? I honestly think that the Switch should be the ultimate port machine. And I know there are some people that get frustrated when I say that, because it feels like it's been the ultimate port machine for quite some time, right? But then again, has it really? The Nintendo Switch, while it's getting a lot of, especially last-gen ports, it still doesn't really have the full array AAA third-party support we'd like to see, for whether it's modern or, last-gen. And honestly, I don't think it's a negative to try to look at Switch as a machine that can get all of these third-party ports that weren't previously portable. That portable aspect adds a lot of replayability, adds a lot of accountability, adds a lot of flair to people who maybe missed out on some of these games last gen. We've gotten some older Assassin's Creed games. We don't have all of them. We don't have all the I don't get the mindset behind some of the developers, even some that have regularly supported the Switch and Nintendo, like Ubisoft, who stuck by them a little bit through the Wii U era. They're not even putting their best efforts forward. Activision, we don't have a single Call of Duty game on Switch. We got one on Wii frickin' U. We got two of them on Wii U, I believe. We got none, absolutely none, on Switch. Like, that's crazy to me. It's one of the biggest IPs in the world, just like Grand Theft Auto, that could literally run on Switch. And they put Grand Theft Auto on DS back in the day, but they won't do Switch. Like, I don't understand the thinking here. I don't understand why we don't get more. I'm excited for the next Elder Scrolls game. We got Skyrim. Is it possible we're going to get the next one? I have no idea. Probably not, because Skyrim's like a 2011 game. Who knows? This should be the ultimate port machine. And I say that because, obviously PlayStation 4, Xbox are kind of the ultimate port machines because they got all the old gen ports plus all the new games. And Switch just gets some of the old gen ports, some of the new games. But I honestly think that it shouldn't be that way. Switch clearly has a massive audience that is hungry for games, especially right now in 2020. With all of these games being pushed back, now is the time to be porting. And I think this is why it's trending on Twitter in Japan. This is the time right now to want every port you can get to Switch, because we are understanding that games are delayed. We're understanding that Nintendo's pipeline is completely pushed back. They aren't even going to have a Nintendo Direct in June, according to VentureBeat. So it looks like, it's going to be a while before Nintendo is even talking about big games. They'll do some Twitter announcements on some smaller stuff, but we're not going to hear, like, when's Breath of the Wild 2 coming or anything. Like, we're not going to hear news about that. Metroid Prime 4, we're not going to hear about it. Even that whole rumored thing about the Year of Mario and blah, 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 that was going to be their big E3 thing. Like, who knows? Maybe a lot of those plans got canceled at this point because of the work from home stuff and the COVID situation, because that's supposedly why they're not going to do anything in June when E3, when Nintendo would normally do stuff for E3. So we have to kind of take a step back a little bit and try to be understanding that now is the time for ports. And I know it's hard now because if a developer decides to port a game now, it might not actually be ready to come to the system till next year. But still, there are some games that feel like they would be much quicker and much easier to port, like a Grand Theft Auto 5. Feels like that should be a much quicker, much easier to port game, given all the platforms it's already on. But I don't know. That's just me. Red Dead Redemption 2, hello. I actually know for a fact that game has been worked on for Switch, but obviously never came out. So, yeah, there's just a plethora of games that could come. And I want to know, 10 games that you guys want to see ported to Switch, whether it's current gen, last gen, whether it's Nintendo games, third-party games, indie games that maybe haven't even come over. I want to know what you guys are excited for and looking forward to, because I really, really want to see as many ports as possible over the next year or two, because with all the game development being pushed back, it's even going to affect releases next year. So we need to start looking more long haul with some of these port jobs, and being happy that they're here. Stop viewing it as a negative that the Switch is seemingly becoming a port machine. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with being a port machine. Now we can talk about the pricing schemes and charging a little bit too much for some of the ports, but that's a different debate for a different day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm Nathaniel Ravajance from the Center Prime. Be sure to enter our Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition giveaway. Again, you gotta like the video, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon, all that jazz. You know the deal. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will catch each and every one of you guys in the next video.